Just why? This build actually begins with tearing my ACL. Not just once, but twice. And my knees hurt, so I had to stop hurling my corpse off of buildings. My parkour days are behind me, so I'm building this giant umbrella so I can float down like Mary fucking Poppins. If you think about it, I'm actually building a parachute that's disguised as an umbrella. Sick air. So to start out, I bought this one from Goodwill to see how they work. Basically, the canopy is a cone-like octagon that gets pulled tight by 8 ribs. And like the parachutes, my umbrella is gonna have to have a hole in the middle. This hole's critical for directing airflow. Without it, the umbrella would just dive bomb to one side or the other. And finally, every iconic umbrella from Mary Poppins to the Penguin has a sweet-ass handle. And because I'm part Jawa, my first step was scavenging the biggest patio umbrella I could find, then stripping it down for parts. And I quickly realized that building a large enough frame that's still lightweight would be impossible with the tools at my disposal. So I'm gonna use this as the base for my frame and strip it of any excess weight. And every single ounce I can remove is gonna make this thing more effective as a parachute. I decided to use purple ripstop nylon because it's super lightweight, waterproof, and strong as hell, like a dolphin on steroids. Now I just had to calculate what size the panels needed to be. Ah, it's a cone. It's a cone. So the angles are gonna be a bit different than an octagon. Trigonometry, hypotenuse, squared, divided by the Pythagorean theorem of tan minus 1. And I just measured it instead. Because math fucking sucks. And I wisely went with a box cutter directly on top of my floor to cut this stuff out. But I'm a pretty quick learner, so by the 8th panel, I just traced it and cut it with scissors. This is my first time using a sewing machine, so I had to learn how to do it and what stitch I should use. I tried out this zigzag stitch first because it looked strong, but it failed. And next I just went with a standard straight stitch. And it was great. Hella strong, dude. So now I just gotta hem the top and bottom of each of the panels and then join each panel to each other. I mean, it was over 70 feet and hours of sewing. And it felt more like years. It was brutal. But I pushed my body and mind to the limits until eventually it just turned off like a light. Oh, fuck. I think I broke the tip of the needle off. Oh boy. I can't do anything right. Picking up a new skill always comes with its fair share of mistakes, and I had a few loosey-goosey stitches that I had to clean up a bit later. But thank God the bulk of my sewing work is finally done.
It's so ridiculous.
But with it all put together, I realized my wind hole was far too big. So I had to stitch on 8 more panels to tighten it up a bit. Final element are these little pockets that the tip of each rib settles into. So first I mocked up a little finger pocket of my own, then ripped it back apart to use as a template.
Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful.
I thought this thing would stab and grab more than a Viking on a raid, but it just glides through those stitches like butter. And now with my canopy complete, I can move on to the frame, but I really have no clue how good or bad of a job I did with this until I see it under tension. And to do that, all I really have to do is extend each of these ribs. So I marked the insertion depth along each one of these aluminum channels to... insertion depth? Should I cut that? Leave it in. That's just disgusting. Wow, nice little Debbies. What? Little Debbies? I got ham hocks, brother. I don't know what you're talking about. Crawling into this though gave me a sense of the real scale. You could legitimately sleep like 3 people under here. There's nothing like seeing a creation come to life for the first time. But before I can move on to the handle, I did still have to secure the wind hole to the top of the frame. So to do that, I'm gonna add some grommets around all 8 seams. This will allow me to tie it off with tension without being worried about tearing through the nylon. And these gold accents are a nice bonus. It makes the whole thing feel quite, regal. So all I had to do was finish it off with a few zip ties and we're in business. Keeping with the regal qualities of this umbrella, I'm going with a classic J-shaped handle and then finishing it off with a nice dark stain. But first I had to make this thing round, and without a belt sander, that's damn near impossible. This will take forever. God damn it. This is such a bummer. Eventually, I just lost my patience and started hacking away at it with a saw. It's definitely better it broke now than later, but sometimes these setbacks in a build are just tough. This sucks. So this time I used some thick pieces of scrap plywood to be a bit stronger, and actually popped myself a belt sander. And if you thought it looked like it's vibrating too much, you'd be right. I sanded right through this back plate. Whoops. Close. This thing might be my new favorite tool though. Sanding's fun as hell.
Ah, yes.
Oh, it's gonna be sweet. Well, I got it stuck. I guess we're gonna just sand the rest of it while it's attached to this pole still. Whoops. The mistakes made in learning new things is part of what makes it fun. I mean, building this umbrella has absolutely been full of them. But so is every project. Or if you're gonna make stuff and push your skills, then it's just part of it. Not bad, eh? Standing in at 12 feet and 4 inches tall, this thing makes Shaq look like a manlet. And this canopy's 183 square feet.
Oh, this wind.
A slight breeze will rip your shoulder out, all while weighing in at just 15 pounds. So what do you think? Is it gonna be enough to save me? I sure as hell didn't do the math. But I hope you'll subscribe and stick around for the next video to find out. It's gonna get interesting. And if you want to support my projects further, check out the Patreon. Thanks.